Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Campfire Conversation. Today, I'd like to ask a question that, at first glance, sounds incredibly simple. What does it actually mean to own something? Most of us probably think we know the answer. If I buy a book, I own it. If I buy a car, I own it. If I buy a house, I own it. Simple enough, or is it? The creator of this channel, Dave, was thinking about this recently after reflecting on how much the world has changed over the last few decades. There was a time when if you wanted music, you walked into a record store. Maybe it was Music Plus, maybe it was Tower Records, maybe it was your neighborhood record shop. You looked through rows of albums, then came cassette tapes, then compact discs. You took one home. You held it in your hands. You placed it on a shelf. Years later, it was still there. Nobody could decide one morning that you were no longer allowed to listen to it. It belonged to you. Today, things are very different. Millions of songs are available instantly. Thousands of movies, television shows, books, software, games. Almost everything we enjoy can now be streamed. It's incredibly convenient. In many ways, it's one of the greatest technological achievements of our lifetime. Instead of driving to a store, you simply press a button. Within seconds, almost anything you want appears on your screen. That's amazing. But somewhere along the way, something quietly changed. Years ago, we bought products. Today, more often than not, we buy access. And those aren't necessarily the same thing. Think about your favorite streaming service. You pay every month. As long as you continue paying, everything works exactly as expected. But suppose one day you decide to cancel your subscription. What happens? The music doesn't stay, the movies disappear, the television shows vanish from your library. You didn't really purchase those individual titles. You purchased permission to access someone else's collection. That's an important distinction. Now suppose the company itself decides to remove a movie, or an album, or a television series. Perhaps licensing agreements changed. Perhaps contracts expired. Perhaps the service simply decided not to carry it anymore. You didn't lose something sitting on your shelf. You lost access to something sitting on someone else's server. Again, that's a different relationship than the one many of us grew up with. Now, don't misunderstand me. Streaming is wonderful. I use it. Dave uses it. Millions of people use it every single day. It has introduced us to music we might never have discovered. Movies we might never have watched. Artists we might never have heard. There is tremendous value in that. This isn't a criticism of streaming, it's simply an observation. Ownership quietly became access. For some people, that's perfectly acceptable. Convenience matters. Having millions of songs available anywhere on earth is extraordinary. But for others, something still feels comforting about walking over to a shelf and knowing your favorite album is waiting exactly where you left it. Nobody needs to renew a subscription. Nobody can accidentally remove it from your library. Nobody can change a licensing agreement overnight. It's yours. Or is it? Let's move away from music for a moment. Imagine you purchase a computer program. Years ago, you would receive a box. Inside the box might be floppy disks. Later, compact disks. Eventually, DVDs, you installed the software. You owned that version. You could continue using it for years. Today, many software companies operate differently. Instead of buying the program once, you subscribe. Every month, every year, as long as you continue paying, everything works. Stop paying, and suddenly the software you've used for years may stop functioning altogether. Did you own the software, or were you renting the ability to use it? Again, neither approach is necessarily right or wrong. They're simply different. Technology changed. Business models changed. The relationship between people and the things they use changed. And that brings us back to our original question. What does ownership actually mean? Is it possession? Is it control? Is it permanence? Or is ownership becoming something very different than it once was? Let's step away from digital products for a moment. Because this same question exists in another place, a place that has represented the American dream for generations, home ownership. And that's where our conversation becomes even more interesting. Now let's think about something much larger than music, a home. For generations, people have dreamed of one day owning their own home. It's been part of the American dream for as long as most of us can remember. You save, you work, you finally find the house you've always wanted, you sign a mountain of paperwork, you move in. Friends congratulate you. You own your own home. Do you? At first, most of us would immediately answer, of course. But let's slow down for a moment. If you're making mortgage payments, who actually owns the property? Legally, there are different ways ownership and security interests are structured depending on where you live. But from a practical point of view, your ability to keep the home depends on continuing to meet the terms of the mortgage. Miss enough payments and serious consequences can follow. So although we commonly say we own the house, there are still obligations attached. Eventually, after years of hard work, perhaps decades, the mortgage is finally paid. That is a tremendous accomplishment. You now hold the deed. Most people would say, now I finally own it. But even then, responsibilities remain. Property taxes, insurance, building codes, maintenance, community rules in some neighborhoods. Owning something has never meant simply forgetting about it. Ownership has always carried responsibility. And perhaps that's something we've known all along without ever stopping to think about it. Now consider another example. Imagine someone owns a beautiful piece of land that has been in their family for generations. It may have memories attached to it. A childhood, a family home, a place where children grew up under certain legal circumstances. Governments can acquire private property for public projects, typically through legal processes and with compensation. Whether someone agrees with those laws or not, they raise an interesting philosophical question. If ownership can exist within a framework of laws and responsibilities, what exactly are we describing when we say, I own this? Maybe ownership has never been as absolute as we imagine. Perhaps it has always existed within a relationship between individuals, communities, responsibilities, rights, and obligations. Now let's return to something much simpler. Imagine you own your grandfather's pocket watch. Nobody streams it, nobody licenses it, nobody updates it, nobody changes the terms of service. It simply sits in your hand. You can wind it, you can admire it, you can pass it to your children. There is something deeply satisfying about that. Not because it's expensive, because it's tangible, because it connects generations. Now compare that to a photograph stored entirely in the cloud. You may have thousands of priceless family memories. As long as your account exists, everything is wonderful. But what happens if you forget the password or the service closes? Or you accidentally delete the account? Did those memories disappear? No, the memories still exist inside you, but the photographs may be gone. That thought alone has encouraged many people to make backups. Not because they distrust technology, because they understand technology changes. Media changes, companies change. Hard drives fail, cloud services evolve, nothing lasts forever. Which brings us back to one of the recurring themes around our campfire. Technology changes, principles endure. Perhaps ownership isn't really about whether something is physical or digital. Perhaps ownership is about stewardship, responsibility, care. Maybe ownership is less about possessing an object and more about preserving something meaningful. Think about books. Some people fill entire rooms with them. Others carry thousands of books on an electronic reader. Which person loves reading more? Neither. The format doesn't determine the value. The reader does. The same is true with music. Some people treasure shelves filled with vinyl records. Others carry every favorite song they've ever heard inside a phone that fits into a shirt pocket. Neither approach is wrong. One values permanence, the other values convenience. Perhaps both are simply different expressions of the same appreciation. Now let's go one step further. Can you own an idea? Can you own a memory? Can you own wisdom? You can't hold wisdom in your hand. You can't place a memory on a shelf. You can't lock an idea inside a safe. Yet those things may be the most valuable possessions any of us will ever have. Nobody can repossess your experiences. Nobody can foreclose on your character. Nobody can stream your integrity. Those belong entirely to you. Maybe we've been asking the wrong question all along. Instead of asking, do I own this? Perhaps we should ask, what part of this truly becomes part of me? Because eventually, every possession we acquire will outlive us or leave us behind. The car, the house, the records, the computer, the phone, even the photographs. One day, they'll belong to someone else. But the experiences we had with them, the songs we listened to, the family dinners around the kitchen table, the laughter, the conversations, the memories, those become part of who we are. Perhaps ownership has never really been about objects. Perhaps it has always been about experiences, about stewardship, about gratitude, about appreciating what we have while we have it. So, do we really own anything? Maybe, maybe not. Or perhaps the better answer is this. Some things we possess, some things we borrow, some things we're simply entrusted with for a little while. And maybe that's enough. Because in the end, what matters most isn't how much we own. It's how well we cared for what passed through our hands. Thank you for spending a little time with me around the campfire today. I hope this conversation gave you something to think about. The next time you pick up a favorite record, open the front door to your home, or simply look around at the things that matter most. Until next time, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, keep asking questions, keep wondering. And remember, the fire is still burning and we're all still here. I'm Christy. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.